A black girl walks into an elite, mostly white classroom, and the teacher says, "You don't belong here." He rips her essay apart and tries to drag her out in shame, until suddenly the door swings open and a mysterious man walks in. What happens in the next few seconds will change everything. It was the first Monday of the fall semester at Grange Hill High School, a big fancy school in a quiet suburban town outside Atlanta. The kind of school where all the hallways were shiny, lockers didn't have dents, and most kids had last names you'd see on buildings or banks. But Amara Chase didn't care about that. She had her new backpack, her perfect essay in hand, and a dream of being a writer. Her skin was deep brown, and her eyes sharp with curiosity. This was her first day at Grange Hill. She had moved here after her dad got a big promotion, but Grange Hill was known for one thing: it was mostly white. And the elite, advanced literature class, where only top students went, was the whitest room of them all. Amara stepped inside, holding her schedule tightly. The room was big, full of sunlight, books, and kids who all turned their heads the moment she walked in. The desks were in perfect rows. Students wore button-ups, pearls, and clean sneakers. At the front stood a tall, narrow-faced man in a gray vest and tie, Mr. Harris Langston, the head of the English department, and his eyes narrowed the second he saw her. He didn't smile. He didn't even ask her name. "Excuse me," she said kindly. "I think this is advanced lit with Mr. Langston." He crossed his arms. "No, this class is for high performers. You must be lost." Amara paused, blinked, then held up her schedule. "This is the right room. My name is Amara Chase." "Chase?" He smirked. "Never heard of you. Must have slipped through the cracks. We read Shakespeare, Hawthorne, Dickinson. This curriculum isn't designed for you." The students shifted uncomfortably. A few even laughed. Amara felt a knot rise in her throat, but she stood tall. "I already read them," she said. "I actually wrote my entrance essay on Macbeth." She tried handing it to him. He didn't take it. Instead, he grabbed the paper, tore it in half right in front of her, and tossed it in the trash. Amara froze. She looked around. Everyone stared. No one moved. "Get out," Mr. Langston said coldly, "before I call security. You're trespassing. This is on my schedule. Then the schedule is wrong. Stick to sports or dance. This room is for scholars." That's when he reached for her arm. "You can leave now." He tried dragging her out the door. "Don't touch me," she shouted, pulling away. He laughed cruelly. "Oh, now it's an attitude too. Typical." And just when it looked like he was about to yank her out again, the classroom door flung open. In stepped a tall black man in a sharp navy suit with gold cufflinks and a polished name tag. Principal Malcolm Chase, Amara's father. The entire class went dead quiet. Even Langston stepped back, suddenly pale. "Sir, Principal Chase, I didn't know this was your daughter. Apparently you didn't care who she was," he replied calmly but firmly. "Until now." The students were wide-eyed, mouths half open. Mr. Langston looked like he had seen a ghost. "There's been a mistake. I thought she walked into the wrong—" "The only mistake," Principal Chase interrupted, "was how you handled the situation, grabbing a student, tearing her work, publicly humiliating her. That's misconduct." In front of a full class, Langston stuttered. I didn't know." "You didn't want to know," Chase snapped. "You saw a black girl and decided she didn't belong. That's your truth." Amara looked up at her father. Her hands trembled, but she didn't cry. The whole class stared at her now with new eyes. "Amara," her dad said, "go sit down. Front row. Your seat is permanent." She walked slowly to the front, sat tall, and looked dead at Mr. Langston. He avoided her gaze. The truth was, Amara wasn't just good at English. She was the best in the school. While Mr. Langston had been reading the same books with the same kids for years, Amara had been studying literature like it was breathing. She'd won 3 regional essay awards, one even published in a youth journal. She didn't brag. She just worked. Now she sat silently at her desk, watching Langston fumble through the lesson like a man trying to run from his own shadow. Every student in that room saw the truth. The girl he tried to erase just became the main character. By lunch, the story had spread. Students whispered in the cafeteria, in the hallways, even by the vending machines. "Did you hear what happened in Langston's class?" Some kids defended him. Maybe he didn't mean it, but most knew. They'd seen his side comments, his tone, his habit of ignoring certain students. The truth had just been caught red-handed, and the truth was wearing a tie. Mr. Langston was in trouble. Serious trouble. 1 week later, the school held its yearly advanced literature exam, hardest test of the semester. Mr. Langston passed out the booklets in silence. His hands shook. He didn't make eye contact with Amara. The whole class was quiet. Amara didn't hesitate. She flipped the pages and wrote like lightning. Her brain moved faster than the clock. She knew Shakespeare like she knew how to breathe. 2 days later, the results were posted. A big white sheet taped on the front bulletin board. Names, grades, everyone gathered around. Amara Chase, 100%. Only perfect score in the class. Gasps, cheers, even a few claps. One girl said, "She really did that." Inside the teacher's lounge, Mr. Langston was asked to clean out his desk. Fired for public misconduct. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Amara walked back into the classroom that Friday. New teacher. Same class. Same seat. Front row. When she sat down, the whole room erupted in applause. Not because she was the principal's daughter, but because she had earned it. She had walked into fire and didn't flinch. The man who called her a trespasser was now jobless. And Amara Chase, she was just getting started. It had been 5 days since Mr. Langston got fired. His empty parking space stayed untouched. His nameplate on the classroom door, gone. Just a white square left behind. Students whispered. Teachers avoided the topic. And the hallways at Grange Hill High had never felt so awake, because something real had finally happened. And it all started with one girl who refused to back down. Amara didn't gloat. She didn't brag. While kids stared at her like she was a hero, she just kept walking to class, head high, shoulders back, earbuds in. But inside, she was still angry. Because Langston wasn't just one bad teacher. He was a system, a symbol, a man who saw her skin first and her brain last. And when he tore her essay, it wasn't just paper he ripped. It was a message, you don't belong here. But guess what? She did. And now her name was written in big red ink at the top of the exam board. Amara Chase, 100%. Highest score. The school brought in a new literature teacher, Ms. Eliza Whitmore. Yeah, her last name matched the school's, but she was different. Late 30s, curly hair in a bun, and eyes that sparkled when she talked about poetry. "I've read your essay," she told Amara privately. "It was brilliant. That line about Macbeth's guilt gave me chills." Amara smiled. Not a shy one, a proud one. Finally, someone saw her. 1 week later, the local news station caught wind of what happened. A black girl getting mistreated by a white teacher in a top school. That story made it to Channel 5. Amara didn't want to be on TV, but her dad, Principal Chase, sat her down and said, "Amara, this isn't about just you anymore. You've started something. Kids are watching. Speak your truth." So she did. On camera, full face, no hiding. "He told me to stick to sports or dance," she said. "As if black girls can't love Shakespeare. As if we don't belong in books. But I do belong, and so do others like me." That video went viral. Over 200,000 views in 3 days. Parents started emailing the school board. Old students of Mr. Langston began coming forward. He said the same thing to me. He always ignored us. He never believed in us. Amara had lit a match. Now the whole town was burning with truth. That Friday, the school board called a special assembly. All staff, all students, big banners that said, "Equity in education begins now." Principal Chase stood on stage. So did Ms. Whitmore. And then they called Amara up. "Some people see color and draw a line," she said into the mic. "But books don't care what color you are, and neither does greatness." The entire gym stood in silence. Then slowly, applause broke out. It started with the teachers, then the students, then everyone. She had become a symbol. The following week, Amara was asked to join the Student Equity Council, a group that helped shape school policy. She was the youngest student ever invited. First meeting, she walked in wearing a hoodie that said, "Don't mess with me." Everyone knew what that meant. She didn't say it to scare them. She said it to remind them she wasn't going to be silent ever again. Ms. Whitmore changed the literature curriculum. Now, they didn't just read Hawthorne and Dickinson. They added James Baldwin, Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison, Ta-Nehisi Coates. The classroom looked different too. More students of color were signing up. And every student, black, white, Latinx, Asian, was finally being seen. Amara didn't just change a classroom. She changed a system. Meanwhile, Mr. Langston tried applying to other schools. But his record followed him. The video clip of him tearing Amara's essay, still floating around on TikTok. No one wanted to hire him. He lost his job, his reputation, and his quiet corner of power. That's what karma looks like. End of the semester. Final assignment, read your own writing out loud. Amara walked to the front of the classroom with a fresh sheet of paper. She looked out at the same seats where kids once laughed at her. Now they leaned in close. This is called, "You Don't Get to Tell Me Who I Am." She read every word strong and clear, about pain, about rising, about pride, about how people will try to write your story for you, but only you hold the pen. When she finished, the room went silent. Then came the sound that still gives chills. Clap, 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 clap. Standing ovation. That night at dinner, her dad looked across the table and said, "You made history, Amara, and you made your father proud." She smiled and whispered, "I just did what was right." 1 year later, Amara's essay, the one Langston tore, she rewrote it. It won the National Teen Literary Award and was published in a national journal under her name in bold print, Amara Chase. Sometimes, standing up for yourself means standing up for everyone who comes after you. Amara didn't just change a classroom, she lit a path. If this story moved you, share it, speak up, be bold, and remember, greatness doesn't ask for permission. It shows up and takes its seat.